Hi everybody, welcome back to my quarantine kitchen. Today we are going to be making Mediterranean sweet potatoes. So let's go ahead and get started. As usual, there will be at least 3 sections to this post. I will show you how to prepare the roasted chickpeas and the sweet potato. I will show you how to make the base of the filling, and then we will make the tahini dressing to go on top. Let's get started. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 325 degrees, and we're going to prepare the sweet potato. Obviously mine is raw, so it needs to be baked. And then I'm also, at the same time, we are going to roast the chickpeas as well. So it has a little bit of flavoring and it's a little better cooked. So to prepare my sweet potato, I am not going to peel it because a lot of our B12 vitamins are actually in the peel on the potato. It's where a lot of the fiber and nutrients are as well. It's a very dense potato. So I'm going to cut off the ends to either side, and I'm going to cut the potato in half. This could be funny to watch. It's a very dense potato. Oh my goodness. This is a white sweet potato. They are definitely denser. They're heartier than like the yellow ones that we have in the States, which most people call yams, and they are not yams. A yam is a completely different vegetable. I'm now going to puncture without stabbing myself. Good heavens, I'm trying a fork. Going to puncture the sweet potato. Oof. So it has a chance to release some of that steam while it's baking. This is a really dense potato. Oof. Ah! I broke it. Oh well. We'll just cook faster. I'm using a non-stick tray. If you're not, make sure you line everything with oil so that it doesn't stick better. I miss American sweet potatoes. Yeah, these also don't have the same rich flavor that an American sweet potato. Do you see my fork? Do you see what has happened to my fork? These also don't have the same rich flavor that an American sweet potato does. They're kind of bland. They actually remind me of a white potato more so than a sweet potato. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that into the oven. Then we're going to prepare the chickpeas. Got my owl jammies on today. If you like to save the aquafaba for cooking, aquafaba, which is the liquid from the chickpeas, is fantastic for making anything you would use egg whites in. Now would be the time to conserve it, put it in a jar. I still use eggs on occasion, and especially in baking, so I don't reserve aquafaba, but if you needed a time to save it, now would be a good time. Stick it in an airtight container and then use it within the next week, and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to drain my chickpeas as I am, like I said, I don't use the aquafaba. Try to stand on camera while I do this. It's the beauty of having a small kitchen, though, the fact that I can do this. Real life, I keep forgetting to turn off my notifications into a bowl. Okay, and then we're going to pull out our seasonings and get that ready. For seasonings, we're going to use a little bit of cumin, paprika, and that's it. Salt, but I'm not going to add any salt because I'm having some stomach issues lately. My stomach has been hurting and I think I've been using too much salt. So I am going to put a little bit of cumin. There's no particular measurement to this. I'm literally just... Olive oil, that's the other thing. We need to put a little bit of olive oil in this because they do have to roast. You can't see me. Because they do have to roast. So it'll help the seasoning stick as well. So I'm not using any particular measurement. It's about a teaspoon, probably closer to like 2 teaspoons of each ingredient. Sorry, I'm not as exact today. Feeling kind of off. But the show must go on. I'll use my soy olive mix. And then we shall stir that together to make sure everything is nice and seasoned. Then we're going to put this into the pan, and this goes into the oven as well. I'm really just not with it today. I feel very, very loopy. It's quite strange. So now we're going to make the tahini dressing, and this is going to give you 2 portions for the potatoes. Using my measuring cup. Tahini, honey or maple syrup. I still don't have maple syrup, so I'm using honey. And then lemon juice for this. You can also add a little bit of salt, but like I said, I'm going to use more lemon juice than salt in this particular recipe. So we need a 1/4 cup of tahini cream, which is basically, in case you don't know what tahini is, it's a sesame seed paste. It's what goes into hummus to give it kind of that nutty flavor. It's very, very popular in Mediterranean cooking, and it's expensive as all get out here in Brazil, in case you wanted to know. So, a 1/4 cup of tahini. Need a plate or a napkin, but I'm just going to set it on the counter for now. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to use 3 because I'm not adding in any salt. Okay, and then 1 tablespoon, of either maple syrup, or as I said, I'm using honey. If it is really thick, which mine looks like it's going to be, you can also add a little bit of water to thin it out, which is my plan. Yeah, let me add some water. You can also do this in a blender if you wanted to, but because the portion is so small, I'm doing it in a cup. That's better in texture. So now, while I'm waiting for everything to bake, I'm going to put this into the fridge so it can chill a little bit, because I like my dressing to be cold on a hot potato. That's weird, but that's what I like. And then the next step will be making the filling, which is made with tomato and pepper and seasonings. It's pretty simple. This is a very easy meal to make and inexpensive if you already have all the ingredients. The only thing that might give you a little bit of a hard time is the tahini. You could make a peanut sauce if you wanted to, if you had like peanut butter that didn't have sugar in it. That would be another option that you could do and have a peanut dressing. I have done that before, but in this case I'm going to use this. So I'm going to put this into the fridge, and then the next step is, when the chickpeas are finished, to make the filling for the potato. Pull your chickpeas out when they have a little bit of a crunch to them, and they've clearly turned a more golden brown. You don't have to roast them all the way to crunchiness, because we're not making a snack with these. We are putting them on the potato. And we can set that aside for right now. So the next step is going to be the filling for our potato. And we're going to chop up exactly 2 things. We're going to chop up the pepper, and then we're going to chop up the tomatoes as well. And I need a bowl for my tomatoes, because these are the canned tomatoes that come with some assembly required. Right, so we're going to dice our very long pepper. Someone commented on my pepper the other day. They're like, where do you get long bell peppers? In Brazil, my friends. I don't know why our peppers are long, but they are. Just a simple dice for the peppers, not very big. Sorry guys, I'm actually a little concerned about the fact that I'm kind of like in a brain fog today. I'm not sure why. I mean, literally the only thing I ate that was abnormal is I had a bag of potato chips yesterday. Could that be? It might have been MSG in the potato chips. That's a very common ingredient, and I'm highly allergic to it. It's very possible. Don't know. My brain is just not functioning like it normally does. But I really did want to make this on camera because it's delicious. So here's the thing. This is a real show, so here I am. Good, bad, loopy, indifferent. This is what you got. I did not seed these peppers because there's not a whole lot of seeding to go into it, and the seeds don't harm you because it's not a spicy pepper. Now, for my canned tomatoes. I'm using canned tomatoes instead of whole tomatoes for a couple of reasons. One, because I bulk bought these, and they keep better than fresh tomatoes. They're also already seeded and already peeled. All I'm doing here, in case you can't see, is I'm just chopping up the stewed tomatoes into smaller portions. I'm aiming for about the same size as the peppers with this. I will not use the whole can. I'm only going to use about half of it. So the other half is going to go into a container to be used in a further recipe. So, just so you know, because you're going to look at the on the stove thing and be like, what? That's not very much. And it's not, because I'm not going to use all of this. That would overwhelm the flavor, and I'm just looking for a touch. I'm not looking for it to be an amazing game. So once you have it all up into pieces, then it's time to go into the pot, and I'll show that in just a second, with some more of our seasonings. Again, I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, I've put away half the tomatoes. So now I'm going to put in to my pot my bell peppers, the tomatoes, that's going to be the liquid that we're cooking with. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of water from what's left in the can, just to get some of that flavoring in there, and I don't want this to dry out because we're also going to mix in the chickpeas after this has cooked a little bit. A little more cumin. A little more paprika, and then we're also going to add a little bit of cinnamon. That's going to give it just that pop of flavor, that Mediterranean style flavor. It'll also help season the sweet potato. Cinnamon and sweet potatoes go hand in hand. That's just a fact. So. Again, I'm guesstimating the amount of seasoning today. I'm not being exact. Though I should be, because this is a cooking show. But this is reality. This is what you get. Not every day is as on point as others. So anyway, now we're going to cook this until the peppers are finished. Mix in the chickpeas, and then hopefully by that time the potatoes will be done. And then we'll top the potatoes, put on the dressing, and it'll be time to eat. So the peppers and tomatoes are boiling. I'm going to reduce the heat so it simmers, and now I'm going to add the chickpeas. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. Dun, da, da. There you go. And then I'm going to stir that together, let it simmer for a little bit, and then when the potatoes are done, I'm going to top them. All right, everything is out of the oven, ready to go, so now we are going to plate. Our potatoes came out very dark, but that's okay. Woo! Hot potato. I mean, it just came out of an oven, cooking for an hour at 350 degrees, so, you know, I can't imagine why it would be hot. But I am going to cut the potato in half so it fits open a little better on the plate, and also so that it cools down before you go to bite into it. Dun, dun. Okay. Then we're going to put I'm saving the other half of the potato for a second portion. In all of my kitchen videos, you've probably seen that I only serve half of what I make, sometimes only a third, because I cook for 2 portions. I think I've said that in the video before. So then we're going to put our stew on top of it. It smells really good. I wish I had smell-o-vision for you guys. And then we're going to drizzle it with our tahini dressing. If you wanted to brighten up the plate a little, I would add a little bit of like fresh cut cilantro or some parsley to make it just a little prettier. But otherwise, there we go. Not the most beautiful of dishes, but it is delicious. And thank you so much for joining me. Happy cooking, everybody.